Hello students, this is your teacher Manish, and in continuation with our playlist on software project management, today I am going to speak on estimation process, especially the model which is called as function point analysis. We have already seen a COCOMO model, which was constructive cost model, in our previous video. We also saw the overall estimation process flow and how important the estimation is for within software project. Okay, so what goes wrong, or what are the reasons why estimations go wrong? And we also saw the limitation of COCOMO model. Basically, within COCOMO model, you can calculate the efforts, but what it doesn't tell you is how to really calculate the lines of code, because it assumes that you are aware of lines of code, and based on different project types, based whether it's an organic project or a semi-detached or embedded project, based on that you have different values of A and B, but lines of code is something you need to be aware of. So function point analysis model is a industry followed model, because in this model basically what it counts is the functionality that is required by software to be delivered, and that's the beauty of it, because it is not related to any of the technologies in which you are going to build a software, but it's more going to be a functional. There is International Function Point User Group, IFPUG, and this is the user group which actually contributes to the best practices of function point analysis. Okay, so let us get into details of what function point analysis is and how do we really calculate the functionalities. Okay, so basically in any software development there are two types of functionalities that needs to be calculated. One is the data functionality and another is the transaction functionality. So let us be very clear, any kind of software development will have one or both of these functionalities. Now within data functionalities there are two things that needs to be counted. One is internal logical file. So basically data is, when the software is going to capture the data from the user or any other application, what it's going to do is it's going to write whatever it captures into some files, which could be RDBMS, DBMS, or flat files, whatever it is. Okay, so data functionality has got two basically functionalities which needs to be counted. One is internal logical file, and typically it's termed as ILF. Internal logical file, you can say, is user identifiable group of data which is logically related. So if I have to give you an example immediately, employee related data. Okay, so employee related data might get captured into an employee table, which might be a single table, or which might be couple of tables, but it becomes one ILF. So employee related logical employee related data getting into one internal logical file. And remember one thing, internal logical files are those files within which data enters, and it is as a part of the software, within the scope of the software, which is getting measured. Okay, so ILF. Second one which we have is external interface file, EIF. Now EIF is nothing but the files which are maintained outside the scope of software. Those files could be the external files which are actually referred by the software which you are going to measure. So basically the current scope of software refers certain files which are outside your scope, and that is counted as EIF. Say for example, a financial related software sends financial data for the payroll software. The payroll is your scope, whereas finance, salary related or whatever related data that is required comes externally. Okay, some deductions, okay, or income tax related deductions probably come externally within the payroll system. So that becomes the EIF. So EIF is nothing but user identifiable group of data which is referred by the software which is in scope, and this data, EIF data for this software, is not maintained here, it's maintained outside the scope of software. So it's the external application that we are talking about. So there are two functionalities within data functionality that needs to be counted. One is ILF, internal logical file, and second is EIF, external interface file. Apart from that, we mentioned that we need to also count transaction functionalities. So within transaction functionalities, typically you have three functionalities that needs to be counted. First is external input, second is external output, and third is external query. Okay, so external input is something which comes as an input either keyed in or given by the user, or it comes as an input from some other application into the application which is currently getting measured. Okay, into the software which is currently getting measured. So EI, external output is something which goes out of the software, okay, out of the boundary of the scope of the software. And for example, a user would need external output either in terms of reports. There might be files which gets extracted from the existing software which would be sent to the external application. Okay, so that becomes external output. Okay, and the third one is external query, EQ. So all the queries where data is retrieved from the application, from the software which is in scope, okay, and sent externally to the user becomes the EQ. Okay, so quick, this is the block diagram, I would say, for a function point model. So the dotted line which you see over here is nothing but actually the scope of the software. Okay, so the scope of the software which we are going to measure, the scope of the software where we need to identify the size in terms of function points. Okay, this is the dotted line, and we have two data functionalities, ILF and EIF. And as I said, EIF is nothing but EIF is external interface file which is referred over here, where it is actually maintained externally. Okay, so probably EIF, this ILF over here, which is the other application, okay, would become a EIF for the scope of this application. Okay, so that's something which you need to understand. So there are two possible interaction which a software can have. One is the straight interaction with the user, and second is the interaction with other application. And that's how you see your external input comes from outside, from the user, external output goes to user, external query goes to the user, and similarly you will find external input coming from the application, external output going to the application which is outside the scope. External output is generally created by the application which is in scope, and external query is nothing but data extraction from this application. Now I have specifically mentioned here a double arrow. The one of the reason is both the applications can actually have query retrieving the query in retrieving the data from each other, and that is the reason why there's specifically a double arrow here. But ideally speaking, from this application's perspective, you could easily say that it's external query going out from this application to this application in the same way as user. Okay, so this is basically the block diagram. These are the 5 functionalities which you need to count. Okay, and we will visit how those functionalities needs to be counted and what are the different tables or parameters that needs to be gauged before counting this functionality. Okay, so we will see that immediately. So we saw on whiteboard what are the different functionalities that need to be counted, and we saw there were data functionalities and transaction functionalities. Now in data functionalities, we saw we need to count ILF, which is internal logical file, and external interface file, which is EIF. Okay, and in transaction functionality we need to count what is external input, external output, and external query. So total we need to count 5 elements. Total we need to count 5 functionalities: ILF, EIF, EI, EO, and EQ. So now we will go and see how we need to count each of these functionality. So for first we'll see transaction functionalities, and we'll see EI, which is external input, what we need to actually do. Now imagine in a file or a table you have logical groupings. Okay, so a table can comprise of multiple logical groups of data, and table also has number of fields. Okay, now typically data elements over here, which is nothing but DET, is nothing but fields of the table or fields of the file, and file type references. Now your EI, that is external input or external output, can refer one table or can refer multiple tables. Okay, when I say refer, it is actually expected that you write a record, okay, on multiple tables when you are actually doing an input. Okay, so FTR is nothing but file type referenced, which is nothing but tables, and data elements are nothing but fields. Okay, so see the table over here, which will give you an idea how we need to count the points, how we need to count the units. Okay, so when there are less than 2 tables that are getting referred, okay, and when data elements are between 1 and 4, when data elements are between 1 and 4 means data elements are nothing but fields. Okay, then you need to take 3 units, which is 3 points. If data elements are between 5 to 15, you again consider it low only, which is 3. And if data elements are greater than 15, then it is average, that is 4 points. So the first row immediately tells us, so basically this row immediately tells us that for less than 2 file type referred, okay, the points are very low, 3, 3 and 4, okay, irrespective of how many your fields are. Okay, it is finally the only 4 points, okay, which is considered as average. if file type referenced are 2, okay, then and data elements are between 1 and 4, then it's 3 points you need to take. Okay, data elements are between 5 to 15, you take average, you consider it average, 4 points. Okay, so basically what are these points? So when I am counting EIs, okay, and I have a table which is getting updated, a single table with more than 15 fields in it, then I will consider 4 EIs. So this is how I am going to go on adding. So if in my application there are 20 tables, for example, that are getting added or that are getting modified, then I, based on the overall based on overall table that is visible here, you can go and decide based on data elements or number of fields as to how many points we need to consider, in fact how many EIs those will be there. Okay, so similarly we have external output. Okay, same 3 rows are there, less than 2 file type referred, 2 or 3 and greater than 3. Okay, and we have here points that are very clearly spelled out when you are calculating EO. Okay, then third table which is external inquiry, again similar concept, we have less than 2 file type referenced. Let me repeat again, when it's file type referenced, it is very clear that it's basically a table that we are talking about here, and data elements are nothing but number of fields. In numericals, when you are expected to calculate the function points, typically you will be given these tables for you to pick up appropriate value for EI, EO and EQ. Okay, so this is how you are going to count your EI, EO and EQ based on these 3 tables. Okay, let us go and see how we can calculate ILF and ELF. Okay, so basically within ILF you have now a record element types. Okay, so ILF we saw is internal logical file. Internal logical file is nothing but the file that gets created, or a table that gets created within the scope of application. Okay, now record element types over here are nothing but logical subgroups within ILF. Okay, so if those subgroups are 1, if there is only one group within the entire ILF, and if data elements we saw are nothing but fields. Okay, it can be either 1 RET or 2 to 5 RET or 6 or more than 6 RET. So there are three rows again. Okay, similar to what we saw previously where there were FTRs. Okay, so less than 2, 2 and greater than 2. Similarly here we have record element types. Record element types are nothing but logical subgroups within ILF. Okay, so logical subgroups can be more than 1, 2, 4, and based on that your number of points that you are going to count are going to differ. Okay, so similarly we also consider for external interface file, which is EIF. Okay, so in this manner we actually calculate the 5 functionalities. So number of EIs, number of EOs, number of EQs, number of ILFs and number of EIF. So basically for the reference to count these 5 functionalities, you require these 5 reference tables which will help you to decide exactly what is the complexity here expected in terms of data functionalities and in terms of transaction functionalities. Okay, and if you really see this function point analysis, whatever we have seen is purely speaking in terms of functionality, is purely getting driven in terms of functionality. Nowhere we have spoken about technology, whether it's a web based or whether it's a client server or whether it's probably a mainframe based application, okay, whether it's developed in Java, C++. The sizing is calculated based on the functionality. Sizing has nothing to do with technology. Technology will be driving force for calculating the efforts. Our objective is to calculate the size of the software. In COCOMO model, we exactly saw the limitation there, where we had to assume the lines of code that are going to get generated. We never calculated the size. In here, you are actually calculating the size of the software. Now you see the last line, which is very important. Unadjusted function points is nothing but, so UFP, and we'll come back and tell you why we are talking it is unadjusted function points, okay, is nothing but sum of all complexities of EIs, EOs, EQs, ILFs and EIFs. Okay, so whatever complexities that we have calculated, whatever units, whatever measures that we get from this entire tables, we just need to go on adding those complexities. We just need to go on adding the complexities of EIF, ILF, EI, EO and EQ, and when we add that, we will get unadjusted function points. So to calculate adjusted function points, okay, you have a formula which you multiply unadjusted function point, which you just saw how to get from complexities by adding all the complexities, and you multiply it with value added factor. So UFP multiplied by VAF actually gives you the function points. Okay, now what is VAF? Value added factor is calculated by formula 0.65 plus into bracket 0.01 multiplied by TDI. So now you need to understand what this TDI is. TDI stands for total degree of influence. Okay, let me repeat again. We saw how to calculate unadjusted function point. Unadjusted function point was calculated based on 5 tables. Okay, 2 of data functionality tables, 3 of transaction functionality tables, and we added all the complexities from these tables based on different factors that we have noticed. And then what we are doing is we are multiplying unadjusted function point with VAF, and VAF is calculated by 0.065 plus 0.01 into, which is 0.01 multiplied by TDI is in the bracket. Okay, and TDI stands for total degree of influence. Now total degree of influence is calculated from 14 general system characteristics, and these are the 14 general system characteristics which are mentioned over here. And what you need to do is you need to actually see these general system characteristics, how they are going to influence on your application, on your software, and based on that you are going to scale them on the scale of 0 to 5. For example, data communication, if data communication is going to be the key factor. If lots of distributed database is going to be there, if there are going to be multiple servers available, if the hardware setup, if the architecture from server perspective is going to be complex, data communication point you are going to put it as 5. Of course, when data communication is going to be complex, the second point itself is distributed data processing. You have multiple databases, you have online replication that is happening, you will put there 5. If it's a web-based application, e-commerce kind of application, which is very critical, there is going to be performance involved in it. Okay, performance is going to be key. Then in that first case, you have to put performance between 0 to 5, and you will probably put it 4 or 5. Heavily used configuration, yeah, if the configuration is very high, okay, it's a top configuration. Transaction role, what is the role of transaction? Okay, whether here transactions typically are the transactions, it's a unit process. So for example, you raise an order, raising of an order become transactions. You do banking services, within banking services you do online transfer, that online transfer becomes one transactions. You buy online on Amazon.in, you make a transaction, okay, that becomes. So what's the role of transaction here? You need to scale it on 0 to 5. So these are different 14 general system characteristics. Okay, online data entry, end user efficiency, online update, you could immediately make out from certain description itself. Okay, reusability, what is this going to get reused? Okay, installation, is the installation going to be easy or difficult? Okay, operational is whether the operational aspects are self-explanatory, whether there are multiple sites, so how the changes could be facilitated. So all these 14 general characteristics needs to be scaled on the scale of 0 to 5, and what you need to do is you need to sum all this. So if all 14 are say for example complex, and you rate them 5, then you will come up with a value of 14 multiplied by 5, and that's 70. Okay, so for you, how will you calculate your function point? Would be your value added factor would be 0.065 plus 0.01 multiplied by 75, and that is what you are going to then further multiply to your unadjusted function point to get final function point value. Okay, so this is the overall process to calculate the function point value. Okay, we have in detail we have seen how what are different functionalities that needs to be counted, that needs to be sized, or that needs to be calculated. Okay, those are data functionalities, transaction functionalities. Within data functionalities we saw ILF, EIF. Transaction functionalities we saw EI, EO, EQ, and then we saw how these complexities for each of these needs to be calculated based on 5 tables and arrive at unadjusted function points, and then further from unadjusted function points how to calculate function points. Okay, so this is how the overall function point analysis is, and this is how the size of software based on function points is calculated. Okay, I think in our next video we will take one numerical example of the overall calculation of function points, okay, which will make things pretty clear. But in your numericals, most of these things will be given to you, and you need to calculate the function points. You need to know the overall process of calculating the function points. Okay, there are theory questions as well that gets asked so for example, what are the different 14 general system characteristics and how these general system characteristics actually influence the size in terms of function points. Okay, that's where you need to explain how FP is derived from unadjusted function points multiplied by VAF and how VAF is calculated. Okay, with this I'm going to stop here. If you like this video, do share it, do like it, and please give me feedback if you have any on my channel. Thanks a lot.